Today we are going to install a set of tuners on this Warmoth neck, so stick around. Hey everybody, it is Aaron at Warmoth, and I get asked for these instruction style videos quite often, so today I'm going to do one, and we're going to install a set of tuners on this Warmoth warhead neck. I'm going to drag my workbench over here and walk you through the steps. And the first step, I would say, is to make sure that you select the right tuner ream for whatever tuners you're going to install. Today we're going to install a set of Gotohs, but Warmoth offers a few other tuner reams, so make sure you know what kind of tuners you want to install and you get the correct tuner ream so that the sizes match up. Alright, so let me drag my bench over here and I'll walk you through the rest of the steps. So the first thing that I like to do when I'm getting ready to install tuners is just to put them on the headstock loosely. And you just want to, you don't want to torque them down or anything. You just want to get them finger tight. And another little tip is that you don't want to, as you're putting them on finger tight, you don't want to spin them too much, because if you take a look at this one here, you can see that there are these little teeny tiny nibs on the underside of the tuner. There's one on this side and then one over on the other side, and those are to help the tuner or to prevent the tuner from spinning. So if you are, if you're spinning them a bunch once you've got them finger tight, you're going to mark up the back side of your guitar. Not that it would matter, because it'll be under the tuner, but just out of a matter of principle, try not to spin them too much once you've got them tight, so that you don't mark up the back of your guitar. But anyway, just put them on finger tight. Alright, and once you've got them on finger tight, just get them all lined up so they're nice and perpendicular. Sometimes if you're unsure, you can use a straight edge along the back just to make sure. And then once I know I've got them nice and straight, I use a mechanical pencil and I extrude the lead out so that it's sticking out far enough to reach down in the little mounting holes, and I just draw a little circle inside of each mounting hole. And then I just take the tuners back off. And then when you flip the headstock over, you have a nice row of markers letting you know exactly where to drill the pilot holes. Now let's put the neck aside for a second and talk about getting the right size bit. It's a popular misconception that you want to drill a pilot hole as small as possible. The truth is you want to drill a pilot hole as large as possible, because you want to get as much wood out of the way as possible, so that when you drive the screw into the wood, it's not like splitting the wood with a wedge. You don't want to split it. You want to have all that wood out of there, and you just want enough left for those, for the threads on the screw to bite into the wood. That's all you want. So what I like to do, just to be safe, is use a millimeter gauge, and I measure the outer diameter of the screw, which is the widest points, the point outside the threads. And on this particular screw, it's 0.096 inches. And then I measure the widest part of a bit. This one is 0.077 inches, so it's just a hair smaller than this screw. So that will be perfect. And then you can also see that I've got a little piece of tape here. That's because I don't want to, of course, obviously I don't want to drill through the whole headstock, but I don't want to drill any deeper than I have to. So the way I figure out where to put the tape is I drop the screw through the mounting hole, and that's how much is going to go into the wood, and I just put a piece of tape at the end of the screw, so I know exactly how deep to drill these holes to accommodate the screws and no more. And then the other thing I do is I use this awl that I have, and I just use it to punch a little hole right in the center of each of my guide holes. That way when I start to drill, the drill bit won't wander. It'll just fall right into that little divot and drill exactly where I want it to. And then one other thing that I do is, because the headstock has a little, it falls away right there, so when you've got it flipped over, there's a little gap underneath the headstock. If you put a lot of down pressure on it, it'll go like that. So I just like to put something under there so that I can put down pressure on it without having it bounce around. And a lot of times I just use an Altoid box, which is what I keep my drill bits in anyway, so it's always right there. I just slip an Altoids box under there, and now I've got a platform where I can push down and the neck will stay put. So after this, it's just a matter of drilling the hole. So now I have the holes drilled and these things are ready to mount. So the last thing I would advise is to use some kind of screw wax. I use this slipstick, which isn't technically screw wax, but it works to lubricate the screws well enough for me. So the next step is to put all the tuners back in real quick. All right. Now you line them up so that the mounting holes are aligned, and you use some screw wax on every screw. And if you have to expend a lot of effort to get these screws to go in, you need to drill your mounting holes bigger. These screws are not holding anything in. All they are really there for is to keep the tuning heads from spinning. And like I said, you don't want to torque down on these screws. If you're really having to, exert a lot of effort to get those screws to drive in there, the pilot holes need to be bigger. It should just take the most minimum amount of effort, and you don't have to torque them down really tight, because those screws aren't what holds the tuner on. All that is there for is to keep them from spinning. So once you've got that done, just need to tighten up the bushings. And again, this doesn't have to be crazy tight. And there you have it, a set of Gotoh tuners newly installed on this Warhead neck. When it comes to building a guitar, installing tuners is really one of the easier things to do. And as long as you follow the steps that I laid out, and you're careful about lining up your tuners in a row and marking them very carefully, you're going to be fine. I think probably the most important parts of it are to make sure that you drill the right size pilot holes. You want them to be as big as they can be, with leaving just enough room for the teeth to bite into it. If you're doing a roasted maple neck, that's doubly important, because roasted maple it tends to crack a little easier than regular maple does. There's a whole video on that in the Warmoth YouTube archives, so I'll link to it in the description below. But that is it. Now this neck is got tuners on it, and it's all ready for the next video I'm going to shoot. So stay tuned for that. If you have any more questions about installing tuners, about the various tuner reams that Warmoth offers, or any of the tuners that we sell, check out our website or give our customer service reps a call. And until next time, keep on picking.